Ladies and gentlemen, I'll do an update to this video if indeed he is not charged. However, the CNBC article I'm reading, there are also a couple of conservative publications that are reporting that he has been indicted. We just don't know yet. But the CNBC article, Georgia grand jury recommended charging multiple people in Trump probe for range of crimes, report says. The forewoman of the jury stated, "You won't be too surprised," pertaining to Trump being charged. Now, is this a ploy to stop him from 2024? Yes, of course. He didn't commit a crime, but you can indict anybody. You have to prove in a court of law after you've indicted somebody that they've committed a crime. They are desperate. Democrats in Georgia, and the lead prosecutor is a Democrat. Democrats in New York, in D.C., on the January committee, including Never Trumpers, wanted desperately to stop Trump from 24. That's a whole other story. He did not commit a crime, unlike Hunter and Joe and Hillary and Bill, almost certainly with servers siphoning classified and top secret intel outside the United States government, and emails showing clear felonies with Hunter in the New York Post. So you'd have to read the actual emails. But here, the forewoman was coy when asked if the grand jury had recommended charging Trump himself in connection with the efforts. Okay, the Times reported, quote, "You won't be too surprised." Now, and then she said, quote, "You're not going to be shocked. It's not rocket science," in response to the question about charging Trump. You won't be too surprised. Okay, so it's interesting that they haven't come out with the actual list of people indicted. This is all over the news now. This is CNBC reporting on this. There's another way of looking at this, because there are other quotes that might point to the grand jury not indicting Trump. So there wasn't anything specific other than some ominous statements like, well, it's not rocket science. You won't be too surprised. You're not going to be shocked. That type of thing. Okay. They couldn't get him when they accused him of working with the Kremlin, which was, of course, a lie, a fabricated, absurd fantasy. You'd have to be a complete imbecile to believe that Trump was an operative of another country. Okay? He defeated Clinton in 2016. There is not a second that has gone by where Democrats or media accepted Trump defeating Clinton in 2016. They never accepted it. They always said it had to have been because of the DNC emails that actually showed that Bernie Sanders was being railroaded by his own political party. Hit subscribe to this channel right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're finally moving. We're getting close to 204,000 subscribers because there's finally a lot of news that I enjoy, or that this channel focuses on. I don't want Trump to be indicted. I think it would be terrible for a number of reasons, but ultimately would make him more he's like the Obi-Wan Kenobi of politics. It would make him even more popular. And I'll explain that in a couple of seconds. But hit subscribe. Go to hagoodman.com to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, and other publications. The super thanks is below, next to the like and the share buttons. And my Patreon is below as well. If you want to support my work long-term, my Patreon is below. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2015, The Huffington Post called me the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet. The Washington Post said I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters. Okay. Why do I bring that up? I bring that up because my writing that was published in The Huffington Post, The Hill, Salon, other publications. Okay, by editors, by the way. Editors gave a stamp of approval. So it wasn't just the thought process or the ideas or the value system of H.A. Goodman, and that was it. It was editors looking at, because I had to pitch even at the Huffington Post at that time, it had to go through editors, because I had written an article on the Second Amendment, and I could not self-publish on the Huffington Post. Everything I wrote about Bernie Sanders had to go through the editors, okay? And they amplified all of my articles. I was on the front page. Anyway, the whole point is that I know exactly how the Democratic Party works, having been one of the most vocal people for Bernie Sanders. Now I know that Bernie Sanders is obviously a tool of the Democratic Party. He was cheated. He said nothing about it, and he ignored all the good and wonderful economic developments during Trump's administration. Record low poverty. You would think that Bernie in 2019 would have said, "Hey, congratulations, Trump, you got record low poverty in 2019. Congratulations." Instead, he complained that real wages were only up 1.1% when real wages were down 6 to 8% not long ago. Actually, they're still down 5 to 6%, something like that, more than that, because inflation's at 6%. So, over 6. So, but anyway, the point is, you have a machine, you have this is like artificial intelligence program. It's more than just a cult. The cult is not voting for Trump, okay? The cult is looking at Trump and saying, were his policies good? Did we have record low poverty in 2019? Was the last year in office, when he was in office, his last year, was that the fault of Democrats and Democratic governors who tanked their states? Or was it Trump's policies that led to all of that? Okay? When they look at Trump's presidency and they say, oh, he added so much to the debt, they know very well that was his last year in office when media, bureaucrats, and Democrats pushed to end and shut down economic activity and then pump stimulus into the economy and trillions into monetary from the Fed, and monetary and fiscal stimulus close to $10 trillion, okay, eventually close to $10 trillion. They know very well that it wasn't Trump's policies, but they're blaming what took place in his last year all on him. Those were choices that Democratic governors made. You didn't have to tank their state economies, which of course tanked Trump's economic record in aggregate. But in 2019, before there were 22 million people unemployed in March of that year, of the next year, we had record low unemployment. We had record highs in household median income. We had record low in poverty in 2019. We had the Doha Agreement, the Abraham Accords, and the first president stepped foot in North Korea. So these were foreign policy accomplishments. We didn't have an invasion in Europe. We were in 90 seconds to midnight. Trump's policies worked. It's unfortunate that even Donald Trump doesn't focus on his policies. Okay? Instead of just like going, yes, should he say disparaging things about Rihanna or LeBron James? No, he should not. He should not do that because it takes away from his stellar economic record. His last year in office should not be counted as part of his economic record because you had Democrats and specific bureaucrats who shall remain nameless, who pushed vehemently and gleefully to tank the U.S. economy. That's just one issue. Democratic governors were going after restaurant owners and entrepreneurs. We don't have to get into all of that. But his policies worked. That's why they're going after him. Initially, they went after him because he defeated an entire political system, both left and right. He defeated Clinton, so he had to have worked with another country. These are the people who lie routinely, and they use a Steele dossier to go after their direct political rivals. They use government to go after their direct political rivals. They do everything they accuse Trump of doing, and they do so with with the support of media. Nobody has had a better media coverage. Nobody has had more positive media coverage, okay, than Biden. Nobody's had worse than Trump. There was an article the other day. There's not a president that has had worse media coverage than Trump. And the reason they're going to go after him is because it's the last thing they have. That's the last arrow. That's the last sling. That's the last thing that they could do to go after him, is indict him. They can't get him with negative media coverage. They can't get him with accusing him of everything under the sun. So if they indict him, there will be a number of people saying, well, I'm not going to vote for somebody indicted, but the majority of the country, over half a little bit, like around half of the electorate still won't care. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. It doesn't matter because they know that they know that Georgia is going after him because there are never Trumpers and Democrats who despise him. He didn't do anything in that phone conversation. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now.